All right, let me ask you this. This is important because I am shocked by this. How many of you at home, and I'm going to ask you too, have heard of the Tulsa Race Massacre or were even taught about it in school? Show of hands. 2. Anyone in the studio? I was not. No. Okay, I was not taught about this. Okay.
So you don't know what happened?
I learned it recently, and I'm embarrassed to say that. I'll be super honest. I was not taught, and I went to a very progressive school.
Okay.
All right, if you didn't know, yesterday marked the 100th anniversary of the massacre. So 100 years ago, a white mob killed an estimated 300 black Tulsa residents. More than 30 square blocks of homes and businesses were burned, looted, turned into rubble. It happened in the Greenwood district, which was known as, at the time, of course, as Black Wall Street. And as you just saw, a lot of us didn't learn about the Tulsa Race Massacre because it was not taught in school. Super embarrassing to talk to you about this. Many people first learned about what happened from the HBO series Watchmen, which featured the events in one of its episodes. And last night, CBS aired a documentary about it, which featured a 107-year-old survivor, Viola Fletcher, who talked about what she lost. Take a look at this.
Good education and a nice home and a quiet neighborhood and family. All of that was taken. There's so many things, you know, that I'm still living without now.
107. Yeah. Erica, what do you know about this? What do you feel about this? And is it shocking that I didn't know about this? Is it embarrassing?
It's not shocking that you didn't know about it. I only knew about it because I took an African American history class in college. Wow. So I was about 20 when we had this conversation, and it wasn't as expansive as the conversation that we're having right now. This was such a pivotal moment because for Tulsa, this was a PR issue. It was a PR nightmare. No one wanted people to know that a massacre, a race massacre, had occurred because it didn't look great for the city. Now, what's happened since in terms of commissions, they have raised over $30 million on the names and stories of these survivors. There are 3 survivors that are currently speaking out between the ages of 100 and 107. Viola's younger brother is 100 years old, who then went on to become a World War II veteran.
Wow.
So the idea that these survivors have not reaped any benefit from the amount of money and attention that has been brought to the Tulsa massacres is actually just salt in the in an open wound. And then you talk about the mass graves. This was about the dismantleization of Black generational wealth, and there is no way to make up for that. So if the commission does not review, they're talking about restitution, other ways that they can have social justice to rectify this, which can never be rectified. But it's much like what happened in Manhattan Beach that we were all learning about. In 1924, when a Black family was stripped of their property, which is now worth hundreds of millions of dollars, there's no way to get that back. Right. So we need to talk about restitution in a real form here.
And I just quickly want to say, history is always told by the winners, right? So I never learned this story because, and I'm ashamed of that because this was a story that was hidden, swept under the rug.
You shouldn't be ashamed quickly. I know we have to go now, but you shouldn't be ashamed because it wasn't until the 70s that this story actually came to light. They were repressing the story. They didn't want anybody to know about the story on purpose, right? Wow. So I know we got to run, but I could talk more about it.
I appreciate that, Jeff. We'll be right back. Thanks, guys.